No, an emergency. A train just hit a motorcycle. Actually, it's a car. It's not a motorcycle. Car all the way down the track.
So it just slid it down the railroad track?
Yeah, I mean, it totaled it. There's a woman screaming. I don't think anybody's alive in it.
His skull was fractured, what we call it comminuted. Translation, it's in little pieces.
Is there anybody trapped in that car?
There's gonna be a lot of tears in somebody's house tonight, and I hope it's not mine.
It's like if you took a hard-boiled egg and smashed it against the countertop and you turn it over and smash it and smash it and smash it.
I think there's 2 dead people out here in the track.
What kind of car is it? Just tell me
You
something.
can't tell, man. I mean,
Okay.
I watched that thing fly through there. It knocked out me.
One morning I wake up, she's on the couch, I leave for work. That day I come home and I'm watching them pick her up and put her in a body bag.
You can't beat the train. You can't outrun it. You can't outdrive it. You can't outthink it. It will do what it will do.
They were going to a friend's house. They were approaching the railroad crossings and they saw the gates go down. According to the person that survived in the crash, he said that the driver just drove around the arms. He thought the driver was just joking around and he thought he could make it. And he tried to hit the brakes and it was too late.
Obviously, if the lights are activated and the arm is down, you are not allowed to cross those railroad tracks.
Fractured arms, forearms, legs, and ankle have massive pelvic fractures and bleeding from the pelvic fractures. The person who decided that it wasn't cool to wear a seatbelt, he suffered rib fractures. The rib fractures cut into some of his internal organs, and he internally bled to death. Most of his brain we never found. We had a piece of the top of his brain that was stuck in his clothing, in his hoodie sweater, and the rest of it is somewhere out on that train track.
It was sad because it was just before Christmas and there was 3 young kids.
The vehicle did protect them some. 2 of them will be able to have viewings, but it's not worth it.
You're standing on the tracks and it's 200 feet down the road and it's doing 60 miles an hour. It's gonna hit you before you can even react.
The train takes 4 to 5 football fields for that to stop. If you can see it, it can't stop in time. The energy that you absorb can totally destroy people, lacerate them, vaporize portions of their body, so they're never found again.
Teenagers, unfortunately, think they're invincible. It's not going to happen to me. I'm going to be able to get across the track before the train gets me. Unfortunately, that's not what happens in most cases.
Those are the people that we collect. They collect them in garbage cans.
You do see them as you're approaching, and personally I think you shouldn't look at the face, but you do because you're wondering why. You always ask yourself, why is this happening?
It's an awful, awful situation for any one of us to go through. As a conductor, I have to go back and see this horrendous, awful mess that we go through.
That conductor needs to get off the train and walk back and try and render assistance and to determine what happened. And that conductor could come up and see somebody who's bleeding, who is dismembered, who is in really bad shape.
I'm going back, I'm seeing this stuff, and now I'm gonna, I have to keep this with me for the rest of my life.
A locomotive hitting a vehicle is like you stomping on a beverage can. The can's crushed. Well, that's your car. What's inside the car? Bodies. They're all splattered.
It's not a joke and it's not a game. It's forever.
At about 3:20 today, we had a train incident involving an eastbound train which struck a car.
The car went up, the engine came down.
You didn't see any people ejected from the car, did you?
No, I didn't. But you can look at them and tell they fell hard, though.
My daughter and 3 of her friends went around the guardrails. Now I don't have my baby. 3 other families don't have theirs, and 2 babies don't have mamas. All because they were in a hurry. They wouldn't stay beyond what them guardrails stand for. My daughter she was my angel. And life's too short and it's too precious. Them guardrails are for our safety. And I plead with all youth, anybody. And I used to be guilty of doing it myself, going around guardrails. Don't go around them guardrails. Stop, look, and listen. And now all I got left of my angel is just pictures and memories.
They are distracted by their cell phones. Using a cell phone is about the same as having 3 drinks.
Sometimes I think with the pain that I have with my loss, if I could scream to let it out, I'd probably shatter every window within a 10,000-mile radius.
All this is senseless waste. Sometimes as a teenager, you don't think you're that important, but you are. You're somebody's loved one, you know, because no one expects to bury their kid. Your friends wouldn't want it either. It's very traumatic to go to your best friend's funeral.